How would you describe a typical news day?
They're very busy. A typical news day is trying to simulate a real newsroom. So we have a lot of people running around, which gains number of people as day goes on. At first, it can be quite quiet because we're all sat. We found our stories, or we're looking for stories, so it stays quiet. But as bulletins start, people start to get a bit more hectic because everybody's trying to make the deadlines to submit their footage and their rushes, and they're trying to make the deadline to submit their radio packages and their voice pieces. So as the day goes on and as you build to the program, it gets a lot busier. But in general, I would describe them as busy.
What is your most frequent position on a news team?
On a news team, I tend to take the role of reporter, but that's mostly because on TV, I tend to take over as director and vision mixer. I've had that role now on almost every week, despite the fact that we only do TV 2 out of every 4 weeks. I've been director since about week 5, week 6, and I've done it every single week because I'm the most experienced now, and people trust me with it. When I direct, I take over as almost an assistant producer, even if it's not my group, which means in the case of a program, an hour before TX, and in the case of Bulletin, about half an hour before TX, I will go into the studio, I will get all the equipment set up, and at that point I'll start badgering the people in the newsroom to ensure that they're getting into the studio and ready. Once they're in there, I'm in charge of making sure the cameras are framed up, and I'm in charge of ensuring the presenters are queued on time and all the VTs play out on time as well.
Out of presenter and news editor, who has the most control and influence over a news day?
At the end of the day, the editor's say goes, and you can't argue with that. If an editor says we're dropping this, you're dropping this. But on a bulletin especially, bulletins, especially radio bulletins, they can be nothing but a presenter's voice. So a presenter can have a lot more say there because they're writing the scripts, and if they're writing the scripts and they go, look, and they can go to the producer or the editor and go, look, this is too much for me to say. This is a silly story to run with. Then they can get it cut if they really want. But on a typical news day, especially on programs, you'll probably find that the editor's taking over more.
What for you personally is the most enjoyable part of a news day?
It's the atmosphere. I like the kind of adrenaline, the rushing around, which is why I like directing, because that means that I get to be part of the huge buzz that's going on. Every TV studio an hour before air is getting a real buzz to it, and there's a real atmosphere going as people are getting in there, people are getting rehearsed, and the crew is building, and just the general atmosphere just rises more and more. That's just a really enjoyable feeling.